Welcome back everyone, I'm K Plays Games and it's time for another new game on the channel, and the game we're going to be playing for the next little while is Battletech, a turn-based tactical combat game which was released in 2018. Since release it's had 3 paid for DLCs and a whole host of free updates. Each DLC added new maps, new biomes, new game mechanics and a ton of new mechs. The game is set in the Battletech universe, to be precise, the year 3025 on the Battletech universe timeline. The Battletech franchise began life as a tabletop board game way back in 1984. Luckily, I don't have to spend hours bringing you up to speed with 30 years of collected lore. The opening cinematic we just saw more or less brings you up to speed with where we are in 3025. Mankind has reached the stars, formed a giant empire, and that empire eventually fell into civil war and chaos. Much of the technology of the old empire has since been lost. Which other sci-fi franchise has a very similar premise, started out as board games and has been around since the 1980s? Over the last 30 years, the Battletech franchise has expanded into pen and paper role-playing games, more than 100 novels, quite a few comic book series, even an animated TV show, and many video games. You may have seen or even played the Mech series of games. The Mech series is much more like a first-person shooter than grand strategy. Battletech game was developed by Harebrained Schemes, which was founded by a certain Jordan Wiesman. Jordan Wiesman was one of the original creators of the tabletop board game back in 1984, and he had creative input into this game. This adds a level of authenticity to the game, and it makes it canon in the Battletech universe, not just some random computer game with licensed Battletech skins slapped on the top of it. Battletech plays very similarly to other turn-based strategy games. Fans don't jokingly refer to this as MechCom for nothing. Fitting out your mechs is a major part of the gameplay, and it's almost as deep as fitting ships in EVE Online is. So what we have is a game that blends XCOM style gameplay with EVE Online style ship fitting, takes place in one of the richest sci-fi settings ever made, and has one of the creators of the entire franchise on board as a creative director. That is surely a mark of quality. 4 years after launch, the game remains incredibly popular, with over 1,000 players playing it right now as I speak to you, and over 32,000 people being members of the subreddit for the game. There are many mods for Battletech. Some of them make the game even more like the original tabletop game. Other mods completely rework the entire game from the ground up and change the setting to different eras along the Battletech timeline. We will just be using the vanilla game and the 3 DLCs. There are 3 game modes to pick from, as we see below the logo. Campaign, which is the story-driven mode with the big set-piece missions for you to tackle. And as well as doing that, you can do as many random missions as you want and upgrade your Mech Warrior pilots and your mechs. And in fact, you're going to have to do this quite a lot. Otherwise, the storyline missions will kick your ass. Career is the sandbox mode, where there are no storyline missions and you just do random missions forever. Skirmish is just individual battles with no leveling up of pilots and mechs. We'll obviously be doing the campaign mode because we like cutscenes and there are lots of gorgeous cutscenes for us to enjoy together. Do be warned, Battletech is a very grindy game. You need to put in the hours, you need to run many missions, train up your pilots and kit out your mechs. Because of that, this playthrough series could get quite long. If it starts to get boring, I'll start skipping some of the random side missions and only present to you the storyline ones. So let's get started, shall we? New campaign, please. We'll have a look at custom campaign. Now these settings up here in this yellow box can only be chosen now at the start of the campaign. All the other ones can be changed during it. If you find it too easy or too hard, you can adjust these. I'll take you through them. Top left we have unequipped mechs. That means when you salvage a mech from the battlefield, it either comes equipped with the standard loadout of gear or it's completely blank. We will leave this unchecked so we get the gear. It's a good way of getting gear. Iron Man mode means there's no save scumming. We will not be using that. Skipping the prologue, we will not be skipping the prologue. I'll take you through the tutorial. It's actually quite good. Parts or mech assembly, this is quite important. This is another kind of difficulty thing. At the end of each battle, you get a chance to salvage parts of any mechs you destroyed, and this is how many parts you need to collect to form a brand new mech that you get to keep. 3 is default. If you're insane, you'll go to 8. We'll leave it at default, and we'll leave everything else on normal.
I am Kamea of House Urano, High Lady of the Oregon Reach, Protector of Coromadir, and the Sword of Restoration. But I am not a hero, no matter what the stories say. A hero would have sacrificed more, compromised less. A hero would have done better. You know this, of course. You were there. My father used to tell me stories about the ancient times, about the Star League, a golden age of prosperity, upheld by the great mech warriors of old, guardians of the innocent, protectors of the peace. I always dreamed of following in their footsteps. I was too young to see the truth of things. After all, it wasn't heroism or a noble cause that won me the throne. It was hiring a mercenary, skilled enough, perhaps ruthless enough, to carry the day. Hiring you. I still don't know if you fought for honor or for the thrill of it, for belief in my cause, or just in my money. But whether it was your noble heart or mercenary mind, your actions gave us hope. That makes you a hero in the eyes of history. Whether you believe it, that's up to you.
Right, that was the first lovely cutscene. Anytime you see these orange highlighted words, you can mouse over them and it will give you more context of the lore. As I said, there is 38 years of lore to dig your way through. I'm not going to read all of this out, that is for damn sure. You can do that on your own playthrough. So let's just click next and get into character creation. None of this stuff really makes much difference. So we'll just more or less pick one at random. Again, more blurb about your character's history, where you came from. Now, these choices here, as we see, do actually affect your starting stats, but the starting stats don't really matter because during the playthrough you will be maxing out your stats. So we'll just pick any old thing. And again, this is more stuff which gives you more stats. So we'll just pick another one more or less at random. Even more deep lore. I mean, you really get into the characterization of your character. Or you do if you're not blazing through it like me. You can choose your pronoun, and then we'll just pick a random face. I can't be bothered to randomize it or customize it in any way. Let's just do some simple naming conventions. Right, and this is the starting stats. This is what we look like. This is our person. So let's confirm and actually play the game. Okay, here we go.
Command interface initiated.
Very basic tutorial, WSAD for camera movement or pan and drag. This yellow line here is the edge of the map and the border which you cannot go past. Hold the right mouse button and drag to rotate, or use Q and E. Then here's the captain of the guard saying they've refitted our family heirloom mech and he wants to make sure it's working. You see, you just either click on the portrait of one of your 4 mech warriors. We only have one at the minute, and that's us. So either left click on that or use tab to cycle them.
I'll come right out and say it, kid. I wasn't completely honest with you the other day. There's gonna be more to this job than escort duty.
Okay, on the bottom right hand side, we see all the weapons that are equipped to this mech. You can turn them off or on as you wish. This becomes very important later. Lasers don't need ammo, autocannons do. This is how much damage each of them does. This is how much damage we do in melee. DFA is death from above. If you have jump jets, you can launch yourself into the air and land on an enemy, which does a lot of damage, but it also does a lot of damage to your legs, which can destroy your mech. So that's very much last resort. On the bottom left, this is the health readout. Each location has its own amount of armor, which is on the right hand side, and structure, which is this stuff on the left hand side. This is us in the front, this is us in the back. When you mouse over it, it actually tells you which modules are fitted to that location on the mech. As we see, the left arm has one of our 2 autocannons and a medium laser. This bit of the torso has a medium laser and a heatsink. Head has nothing. If you notice, the head is very lightly armoured. It's very, very vulnerable. Blackjack is the name of this particular mech. But anyway, we're supposed to be moving. The white dots are where you can move to. If there are any status effects, like cover will go green, mud goes purple, water goes blue, so you can tell what's around you. And this is an objective, so we're supposed to move here. As you see, this white line, or this red line, shows you your path. So this is the path you will take to get to the destination dot. You click once where you want to go, and this brings up this swinging arc, which is you're facing. So you click once where you want to go, and then you pick which way you want to face when you get there. This is very important, we'll cover this much later on. And then you left click again to confirm. So we'll just move up here and face the front. Big stompy robot. Okay, he's a little bit on edge. Captain of the guard, doing his job. He's being careful. And weapons test.
Like I was saying, I can't prove anything. But my gut tells me something's off. And a warrior trusts their instincts.
These red lines show us that we have direct line of fire to both of these enemies. If we had missiles and we didn't have a direct line of fire, but someone else could still see them, you would see a curved arc showing indirect line of fire. And at the minute we're good, we've got direct line of fire. When you mouse over an enemy, you see the chance to hit them with each of your weapons. 95%, 95%. So it doesn't really matter which one of these we attack, they both have 95% chance. One other thing we're going to do is go up here to the top right, go into the settings, gameplay. Now, I've turned down all the cinematics because they take a long time. But what we'll do, just for the first couple of missions, we'll put all the cinematic cameras all the way up here. One thing you really want is show UI during attacks. This lets you see the enemy's paper model and what damage you're actually doing to them. I don't know why you would ever play with this off, but we do. Auto center and selection. When you select your mech, it zooms the camera straight onto it. Again, why would you not do that? So we'll save that just for now. And you can change these settings at any time. So now we've turned the cinematics to maximum. So you can press tab to cycle through all the targets. This is the UI. So obviously we want to be able to see the damage we're doing. If you'll notice that they have this faint red outline all the way around this mech, that means we're hitting it straight from the front, so our damage will be spread around all these locations. If we were to hit it from the side, this red border would only go on one side, and most of our damage would only go on the leg and the arm and the shoulder. Again, this becomes very important. At the minute, we'll just open fire. What we have here on the bottom left is how much heat we are going to generate by doing this. Heat is again incredibly important. This little marker here is a heat threshold. If we go above that, our mech will start taking internal damage, and if it maxes out, our mech will shut down and have to spend the entire next turn rebooting and cooling down. Heat management is really important. As we toggle off the lasers, see the heat just went down completely to nothing, and if you toggle off the autocannons, it doesn't. So that tells you that autocannons don't use very much heat, so you can feel free to fire them all the time, but they'll run out of ammo, and medium lasers do use a lot of heat. Because it's a tutorial and we want to make sure we kill this thing, we're going to fire all 6 of our weapons and just live with having this much heat. A certain amount of heat is bled away at the start of each turn.
All weapons committed.
And he's dead. Big damage ticker of everything that just
Enemy
happened.
mech destroyed.
Here comes the next target. It's a vehicle this time.
Kamea's like a daughter to me, and her late father, High Lord Tamati, was a good friend.
Yeah, so now we're being told to shoot at this vehicle. And this part of the tutorial teaches you about cover. If we zoom in on the vehicle, see this little trees icon here, that means it takes reduced damage. So we'll left click on it. Vehicles hardly have any locations, they're not very well armoured, they have barely any structure. Once you get through the armour of a vehicle, it's probably going to die. So we'll do what we're told and fire on this.
All weapons committed.
You see the status effect, 20% reduced damage because he's in cover. Now this stage of the tutorial is teaching us about shooting things in the back. See, the trees disappear because we zoomed in. So now it's facing away from us. So we'll select our mech warrior. Solid red line means we have direct line of fire. So we'll select the target. And as we see, the red outline is very faint. You can see it though. It's just in the rear arc, so we'll be shooting this in the back. And as it says, rear attacks ignore cover.
Enemy unit destroyed.
This, again, is important. Victoria pulls no punches, but she's been a loyal companion to Kamea since they were kids. Aside from you, there's no one I'd rather have by my side in a fight.
So as we can tell from the heat coming off this mech, we've been firing the weapons rather a lot. And when we mouse over, we see indeed that the heat is actually rising, so we're going to have to be careful. But we'll do what we're told. This mech has jump jets. Left click on the jump button and this gives you this arc where you can jump. We're being told we have to jump here. These 4 chevrons is your evasion. Evasion is again very important. The further you move, the more of these evasion chevrons you get. And the more evasion you have, the harder you are to hit. So we'll click here, like we're being told to, and have a look at this. When you jump, you can pick any facing you want. If you remember, when we moved up here, we only had a very limited arc that the mech could turn. When you use jump jets, you can land facing any way you want. So I think we'll just make sure that we're going to land and still have both of these enemy targets within our cone of fire. So we'll do this.
Engaging jump jets.
Coming away!
Enemy detected.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Jump jets build a lot of heat, and that was more than your engine could handle. Head on into that water. We need to get you cooled off.
So we're now glowing cherry red. We've gone very, very hot. We're on the verge of shutting down. And as we see, we have indeed taken a little bit of internal structure damage. As I said, your heat will bleed away each turn. And this is what the flashing thing in the bottom left hand corner is telling us. This is how much heat will be bled away if we just stay here and end our turn and don't fire anything. But if you move into water, even more heat will be bled away. So we'll move into the water. And now look at that. Now he's saying that the heat has damaged our jump jets and won't be able to use them again for the rest of the mission. That's just so you don't break it by using your jump jets. Okay, so we'll select a Mech Warrior. And as we see, all that heat got bled away. Before we moved, it was only going to go down here, but it moved into water, and water is better at dissipating heat, so it's gone all the way down. You can melee things if you're within range. You get this yellow box around them. So you click once on the target you want to melee, then you can pick which arc you want to attack them from. Now, as we see, there are 4 quadrants here. So if we attack from here, we'll be hitting them on the left, and again this red outline shows that all of our damage will be on the left hand side of it. And if we attack from this one, even though it looks like we're in the back, we're actually still on the left hand side because this is showing us the left, and again it's showing us left on the paper model. But if we go to this one, we'll be hitting them in the back in their rear armour, which is much weaker, so this is probably the best thing to do. Now there are of course other things to take into consideration. If we want to bleed more heat, we'll attack from here or here because they're still in the water. But our heat's actually alright, and melee damage does no heat, so we're going to bleed all this heat away anyway. So I think we're going to attack from the rear, and this purple dot shows that we're standing in the mud, which means our footing will be more stable because we're sinking into the mud, which means we're harder to knock over. We'll get into knocking things over very soon. So let's click on the target once and then click again to pick where we want to attack from, and we'll click attack. As we see, we'll be doing 40 damage in melee with a 95% chance to hit. And the cinematic camera has glitched.
Physical attack.
Well, that worked. He's dead.
Push that engine, kid. If something goes wrong today, I want to know that your mech can maneuver.
So by moving, we gained 2 evasion pips, and on your turn, you can move and then fire, or you can sprint and then not be able to fire. So again, we're being told to sprint and get our evasion up as much as we can. So over here is 4, and we'll turn to face the target.
Full throttle.
Good. Even though he missed, he still removed 1 pip of evasion. Again, this is very important. Whenever you attack something, you remove 1 pip of their evasion. So this tells you that when you have more than 1 mech warrior, use some of your mechs to remove evasion from the enemy, so your mechs with larger weapons have an easier time of hitting it with their big guns. Alright.
An impressive display, Sir Raju. Of course, this mech warrior was a student of yours. I'd expect them to know their way around a cockpit.
Okay, we're being told to go there, so we can't do it with a move order, so we'll click the sprint button and sprint there instead.
Full throttle.
This is more chatter between us and Amea's cousin, Victoria. And she's got nerves about being the ruler of the Reach. Little bit of witty banter between the cousins about which is better, being a fighter or being a ruler.
Mission successful.
Hooray! We've completed the tutorial. Well, the first of the tutorials.
I remember the Oregon Reach of old, the time of the Great Expansion. I was just a boy then. Proudly we went forth, bringing the light of our coalition to so many systems. And for what? To see our great kingdom slowly waste away? Year after year, the Council deliberates while our economy falters, and the wolves bay at every door, while covetous neighbors plot against us. Well, I say, it can go no further. We are here today because if Lady Orana will not act, someone must. I know what I'm asking of you. You will face former comrades, or even loved ones, on the battlefield. I take up arms against my own niece. But remember, today we sacrifice so that tomorrow we can return our kingdom to its proper glory, to its proper strength. So should you fall tonight, know that you did so as true heroes of the Reach. To your stations, for the Directorate!
So that was Kamea's uncle, who has launched a coup to take power for himself and make Oregon great again.
Command interface initiated.
No, she's realised one of the guard posts has been destroyed. Let's investigate.
Damned odd, and I don't like it. Kid, keep your head on a swivel and be ready for anything.
Now we have 3 people.
Reading loud and clear.
We can use them in any order we want at the moment. Again, outside of combat, you automatically do a sprint move. You can change it to a normal move and then use this, which braces and gives you a 40% damage reduction and entrenched, so there's less stability damage. As I said, we'll talk about stability and knocking things over when we actually need to worry about it. For the moment, we'll just sprint, because there's nothing else to do. Again, as we see, once you mouse over this, you'll see it has a tree icon, and it's got a green dot on the ground, showing that we're in cover. So, being smart, I think I'm going to try and get as many evasion pips in cover as we can. Looks like 4 here. And his facing's not great. Alright, we'll do 3 here, so our facing is better.
Confirmed.
Each different class of mech has different weapons and different speed and lots of different abilities. SRM is short range missiles. These things are fantastic. Right, so we'll get the lady there, and this is us, and we'll put ourselves there. It's usually not a good idea to keep everything grouped up. There are very few area of effect weapons, but if someone's shooting at this and misses, the shots could actually hit this one behind it. That's how the game mechanic works. So do be careful. We'll just sprint him here. Looks like this little cleft is going onto the main road. There's more honor guard up there, looks like. Maybe we'll team up with these guys. Yep.
Whatever's happening here, I won't let it derail your coronation. Your people need you.
Thank you, Raju. I will prove myself worthy of the faith you've placed in me.
Of that, I have no doubt.
And we'll just sprint up the road.
Roger.
There's not much else to do.
I'm on it.
Nothing to do but
You
sprint.
have my attention.
Yeah, let's get her just inside the area.
On my way.
And this guy a little bit further behind, and us even further behind. You do move slightly faster on roads. Well, faster, I mean further. You can move further on roads. I think it wants us to get all of our mechs inside this area. So we'll put this guy here.
Affirmative.
And lady needs to be in cover as well. Here. And here's the honor guard contacting us. Now he's noticed things.
Fall back, Kamea.
It
Get
was a
behind
trap.
us.
You didn't train me to cower, Raju. You trained me to fight.
Safeties disengaged.
Like, just ourselves to move. Our jump jets have been broken. We can't really get... Well, we could sprint into cover, but our facing would be terrible. We'd give this guy a shot at our rear. We could get into cover here. That's maybe a bit better. The dotted lines mean that we have line of sight to these targets if we move here. But do I want to be that close to that guy? In fact, I think we're going to sprint up here. We're a little bit more spread out, and at least we've got 4 evasion pips. That'll do. Facing's not great, we're not in cover, but it's as much as we can do. Enemy get to go first. Punch them in the leg. As this blurb here says, once combat begins, there are 5 phases. Different mechs go in different phases. Usually lighter mechs go sooner. There is a phase 5. It's very rare for things to move in phase 5. This is a light mech, so it moved in phase 4. Medium mechs usually go in phase 3, heavy in phase 2, and super heavy assault mechs in phase 1. Various vehicles fall in various different categories. You'll soon learn which one moves in which phase. Everything has its phase indicated. So this guy is lit up 4 because he gets to move in phase 4. This one is not lit up because it's not phase 3 yet, but you can see a 3 and a 3 on this one and a 3 on this one. So you can quickly glance at the battlefield and tell who moves in which phase. And each phase the enemy goes and then you go, and then the enemy goes 1 mech and you move 1 mech, and so on and so forth. So the enemy went first, they moved their 4th phase mech and attacked us, and now it's time for our guy to go. Now this is a medium mech.
Talk to me.
But this guy has a special ability which lets him move 1 phase earlier, which is Master Tactician. Initiative is which phase you go in. So Master Tactician is something we can learn. So in any mech, so if this guy was in a super heavy assault, he would move in phase 2. If he was in a light mech, he'd actually get bumped up to phase 5 and go before everyone else. So we have options. Let's right click on the enemy, and this brings up their UI. As we see, they're not very highly armoured. That's why they're grey and not white. White usually means full armoured. So these guys have half armour. This thing has a large laser and a short range missile 4, which means it fires 4 missiles at a time. When we mouse over the model, we get to see where they are. So its large laser is on its right arm, and its SRM4 is in its torso. Let's right click this Shadowhawk instead. Again, half armour. He's got SRM2, medium laser, assault cannon 5, another SRM2, an LRM, which are long range missiles, which can shoot at things you can't see. As long as something else can see it, you can fire at it, and a medium laser. So we'll just mouse over and find out where his things are. His AC5 is up here in his torso. Obviously the Shadowhawk is going to be the bigger threat because it's a larger mech, so I'd quite like to shoot this thing. This guy also has 2 other special abilities. Sensor Lock. When you use it on an enemy, it removes 2 of their targeting pips, and if they're, for instance, hidden behind a hill, we'd be able to see them, and then something else with long range missiles can fire the missiles over the hill and hit it. And he has multi-target, so he can split his weapons between multiple targets. He has an AC 10 which does 60 damage, 2 medium lasers, and an LRM-10, which is 10 missiles, each doing 4 damage. So I think... let's have a look. So we know that this thing's most dangerous weapon, I would say, is the AC-5, and it's on the right-hand side. So I'd quite like to attack this guy from the right-hand side. Moving here, we can't quite do it. We're still in the frontal zone, so we can't get round to that. How about the Panther? The launch laser is quite a nasty weapon, and it's on its right arm. So if we moved a little bit, so you can move here and shoot it in the right arm, but it is in cover. It does have 2 evasion pips, and we wouldn't get any evasion by moving there. So I think coming over here and shooting this guy, yes, we're exposing our back to the Panther, but the Panther has already moved, and we have our 2 other mechs who should be able to at least damage it or possibly destroy it before it gets to shoot this guy in the back. So let's do that. Okie dokie, let's just do an attack, fire everything. As you see, LRM-10s are quite inaccurate at close range. They prefer to be at long range. You mouse over, it tells you the minimum range is giving us a -8 to hit, because it's within the minimum range that these things like to be. When you mouse over anything, it tells you why your to hit chance is what it is, how much heat it's going to do, all the stats you ever want to nerd out over. So let's just fire everything at this guy. Boom! Well, that was good.
Take that as a lesson.
Here it comes. What's it going to do? Is it going to shoot?
I'm getting outmaneuvered.
Yep. He moved and shot us in the back, but it's fine. We had full
My
armor.
armor's in bad shape.
Ah, you're fine. Right, let's right click on this guy and see what happened to him. So we blew up his AC-5 and his medium laser and his arm and his shoulder, and what you saw was pilot injured. When you destroy a shoulder, a pilot takes an injury, and when you knock a mech over, he also takes an injury, or if you hit the head, he also takes an injury. There are 3 ways of getting a mech off the battlefield. You can destroy the central core, which kills it, but after the battle that only leaves 1 piece of salvage of that mech intact. You can destroy both legs, which takes it off the field, and after the battle you get 2 pieces of salvage. Or you can kill the pilot, in which case you get 3 pieces of salvage. So because we left the salvage setting at the start of the game on 3, if we can kill the pilot, we'll be able to salvage the entire mech and keep that mech for ourselves. Killing pilots is done by causing wounds. Normal pilots have 3 wounds, as we see here. These are the wounds under a normal pilot. More elite pilots, like Kamea, has 4. This guy's really elite, so he has 5. These guys probably have 3. We caused 1 by destroying the shoulder. When you destroy the shoulder, that's 1 wound. If we can knock it over, that's another wound. If we can hit the head, that's another wound. So let's pick Kamea just now. Where can she move that's in cover, gets decent amount of evasion pips, but can still shoot both these guys? Only really here. So let's do that.
I'm moving out.
As it says, you can do a reserve move, which moves all of your mechs that are in this phase down to the next phase. Now this can be quite tactically clever, because if you just make contact with an enemy and are quite far away, it's good to reserve your guys down as low as you can go, so all the enemy move closer. They might not be close enough to fire, but by moving they've brought themselves closer to you so you can fire at them. It's sometimes good to reserve down so you can react to enemies, because then you know that they've all moved and the only people who have actions left are yourself. Right, she's moved. Let's mouse over, see what the to hit chance is. She can also do multi-target. So the LRMs, the long range missiles, only have a 40% chance to hit this guy. So I don't think we're going to shoot them at him. I think we're going to split our fire here. So multi-target, you click once on a target to highlight it, and again on the second target. I think you can do this up to 3 targets. Yeah, up to 3 separate targets. Now the weapons indicators change to the letter of what you're firing them at. So we want everything other than the LRMs to be on A, and then we'll change the LRMs to be B. So a 70% chance to hit target B, even though he's got 2 evasion and he's in cover. This guy's not in cover. We're hitting him from his already damaged side. Damage moves inwards. So we've already destroyed this arm and this torso, so the damage is going to move inwards centrally. It won't hit him in the head. It might hit him in the head, but most of the damage is going to go on his central core, which only has 98 hit points remaining. So this is probably going to kill this guy, and hopefully it will damage a panther as well. Let's see.
Affirmative.
Good hit.
Yep, he did. Hey, and the LRMs actually hit something. Okay, now it's just us. Now we can do a melee attack on this guy, which has an 80% chance to hit. Or we can move and then shoot. So if we moved here, mouse over, and this then tells us we have pretty decent chances to hit with all these weapons. So that's our 2 options. We can melee, 80% chance of doing 40 damage, or we can move and have between 65 and 70% chance of doing, is that 150 in total? So I think we'll do that. Let's move up here then. This is the kind of tactical thinking you need to do in this game. I mean, I've seen many other players just going crazy and YOLOing, and it never ends well. Again, we couldn't quite get around to the already damaged side, so we're hitting it front on, but he's barely got any armor or anything. Let's just see how much of this we can do.
All weapons committed.
Couple of misses. Orange numbers means internal structure. Alright, now luckily for us, we get to go again. So this is phase 4, so our guy gets to go.
Got my attention.
So we get one more chance to kill this thing. He's got 70 melee, 85% chance to do 70. It's got no evasion pips left. It is in cover, so it will take reduced damage. What if we went here? Well, that's pretty good. 80%, 85, 85, 80, and it is actually on the side. So I think we're going to do that with this guy. So we'll move.
Moving out.
Even though we didn't get any evasion from that short move, we are hitting it from the side, and the side has already been damaged. So this should do quite a lot to this little guy.
All weapons are go.
There goes a leg.
Damn you for making me do that,
And
son.
his torso.
Damn you.
Dead. Yeah, and reports of the queue are reaching us. And we're going to the armory to get more weapons. And he's saying, you've already been betrayed once. This could be another betrayal. And she's like, I don't care. We have to go to the armory.
Raiders in the guard. And I fear this is only the beginning. Follow me. Keep close and remember your training. Things are likely to get ugly between here and there.
So the only one of us that took any damage was him, and it was to the rear armor. This is pretty bad, because that's where his LRM 10 is and LRM ammo is. So if he gets shot in the back again, it could destroy this shoulder, which is this shoulder. Remember, these are mirror images. So if that shoulder gets destroyed, he'll lose a wound, and when ammo gets destroyed, it can cause an ammo explosion, which causes a further wound. But he's got 5 wounds, so I'm sure he'll be fine. Can he sprint anywhere that's in cover? Kind of, yes.
Affirmative.
Can she? Yep, that's good.
Sounds good.
Then
I'm moving.
can we? Yep.
We've got company.
Okay, more bad guys. vehicles this time. Unknown, unknown. Well, that's fine.
Orders.
In fact, what we're going to do is reserve and let these vehicles go first, because they're quite a long way away, and I don't think they're going to have enough action points to move up to within firing range of us. And even if they are, we've all got pretty decent evasion and we're all in cover. So we're going to reserve.
I'm holding action.
Let the enemy move first. Hey, that vehicle has now moved close enough that we can at least identify the tonnage. So this is a 30 ton something. We don't know what these are. So we'll reserve again. And that these... It says there's only one of these is going to go in phase 3, so we'll reserve again.
Let them make the first mistake.
And this is a 25 ton vehicle. The tonnage is a very, very, very loose guide as to the danger of something or the threat that something is. And they've got another enemy that's going to move in phase 2, which I'm assuming is this one, so we'll reserve. Alright, now if we try and reserve again, we'll actually bypass our turn and forfeit our turn, so let's not do that. Okay, if he moves here, he gets a direct line of fire on something. As we see, these gold chevrons indicate your chance to hit with your weapons. As we see, because we can't see it from where we are, when we mouse over the target, we don't get the chance to hit because we can't see it yet. But these gold chevrons indicate that our weapon systems will be in a really good range to hit. That's what these bands are on the facing thing. That's the different ranges of all your weapons. If the weapons were not in perfect range, these would be white. So that's a good way of telling, especially when you can't see them from where you are. So we know that if we go here, at least 2 of our weapons will be in range and there'll be a good chance to hit because they're gold chevrons. Even though he's not in cover, I think we're going to do that.
Roger that.
I'm going to see which of our weapons are in range. Okay, so the medium lasers can't see it because they're out of range. Because they only have a range of... Well, it doesn't tell us what the range is. So the long range Assault Cannon 10 and the long range LRM 10 can both hit this thing. Decent chances to hit. 90% of doing 100 damage, 60 plus 4 times 10. Hardly any armour on these things. It's got an AC5, which is a decently big cannon, and a machine gun, which is a close range support weapon. So we'll just fire him at this. Boom! Dead vehicle. Lovely.
Brave, I'll give you that much.
Standing by.
Now she cannot draw a bead on these guys from where she is, so I think we'll just move her. I don't really want to bunch up too much. Could do a sprint just to get some more. Yeah, I think we'll sprint her up here just to get some more evasion. She's not going to be able to fire this turn, so why not? Why not sprint? And how about us? We are a million miles away from the action. We're going to have to sprint as well. That looks pretty good.
Full throttle.
You hide in there. Right, we get to go again.
You've got my attention.
And this guy is the MVP. Now, as we see here, he can't see the enemy from where he is. That's 2 evasion pips, that's 1, but it's in cover, so he's definitely moving here. And if we zoom in, we see that we have 2 gold chevrons and 1 white chevron, so 2 of our weapons are going to be in really good chance to hit, and the other one is going to be a not so good chance to hit. I think the not so good chance to hit is going to be the LRM 10s, because it's, again, close range, and they like to be at long range, so let's move him here.
Copy that.
And we'll press tab, and yes indeed, the AC-10 and the medium lasers were the gold chevrons, and the LRM-10 was the white chevron. Now you can't split fire because you can only see the one target, so we'll just fire everything at this.
Here we go.
Boom! Another dead vehicle. Excellent. Now it's going to be the enemy's turn next.
Vehicle down.
And he's probably going to get shot. But he'll be fine. Here comes another little tank. 40% damage reduction. That was pathetic. I'm not even sure it hit. And if it did... Oh no, it did. It did 4 damage to his left arm. Wow, 4 damage. Again, because he has a special ability that doubles his cover bonus, so he gets 40% damage reduction from being in cover.
I'm listening.
So we know that this thing has gone, and this one has not. So can we move anyone to a place where we can see it? No, I mean our mech can't move anywhere where it can see
Tell me what you
anything. So if she moves here, all she can fire is her long range missiles. That's what this curving arc is telling us. And here, this is only indirect fire. But if she moves here, what we have is a straight line, but it has this faint line here and this eye icon. That means it's a slightly obstructed direct line of fire, so the chance to hit will be adversely affected, but I think it'll be fine. Let's just move it up. Oh, it might be obstructed, but we can still see an awful lot. Now, do we think we need to use everything? Because we are generating quite a lot of heat. We can turn off one medium laser just to save a little bit of heat. Hopefully we're still going to do enough firepower to kill this thing, because SRMs use quite a lot, but again, 8 times 6, that's a lot of damage.
Copy that. Another enemy.
Because we can't see anything, whenever we move, I think we'll just sprint and get into cover.
Full throttle.
Maybe we can be of some help. So the last enemy vehicle is going to go, and then it's mass death again. And that's quite a lot of missiles. And as we saw there,
Just barely dinged my armor.
we had a stray shot, because he was firing at this guy, but he missed, and the stray shot came through and hit us. Where did it hit? Didn't hit the head, hit the shoulder. Yep, just hit us in the shoulder and the central torso. So again, that is why you don't really want to bunch your guys up.
Orders.
Right, that's in cover, 2 evasion pips, decent chance to
Roger.
hit. Let's go. And fire. Boom, another dead vehicle.
Never stood a chance.
Oh no. No, no. We're too late.
And what we have here is our stability damage. Because we took some stray shots from long range missiles, or any missiles. Missiles and autocannons do stability damage to things, as it says, 25 damage, 5 stability damage. And stability is how close you are to falling over. When you hit this threshold, you become unsteady, and when you're unsteady, you lose all your cover bonuses and all of your evasion. And if it goes all the way up, then you get knocked over, you have to spend a turn getting up, and you take a wound on your pilot. So always watch your stability, and it's good to fire missiles and autocannons at enemies and knock them over, cause wounds, kill the pilot, get the mech. Okay, she's managed to get herself stuck up there. I thought that she could march down this little road here, but apparently not. She's going to have to go the long way, so might as well stick her in cover.
I'll make it happen.
We're getting
Follow my lead.
a little bit spread out. No, say you don't want to bunch up, but also you don't want to be too spread out. You want to be close enough to help each other. You don't want to have someone go too far ahead and get swamped by a whole swarm of bad guys. And this is confirmation that the coup is underway. Oh no, your uncle and your cousin. Yes, your uncle and your cousin.
Alexander! Alexander!
Well, there goes the palace. Yeah, you're too weak. Blah blah, make a Regan great again. Yeah, yeah. And enemy reinforcements being dropped off by a dropship.
Attention, all Espinosa forces. This is Lady Victoria Espinosa. Lady Arano is to be apprehended and taken alive by my command. Fail to follow these instructions, and you will have me to deal with.
Okay, we can see 3 enemies. See this, if you zoom all the way out, this blue circular line with this white ball racing around it, this is our sensor range. Anything outside that, we won't even know what it is, but these are inside that, so we know that it's a mech that's 30 tons and a mech that's 40 tons, and this one's actually in line of sight, so we know it's a locust. 2 little tiny missile launchers and a medium laser, hardly any armour. So I think what we're going to do is deselect this guy with the right click. I think we're going to reserve. He is in cover. As we know, his special ability gives him 40% damage reduction when he's in cover. He does have 3 evasion. Everyone's got pretty good evasion, so I think we're going to reserve. So that will let 2 of the enemy bad guys go, which will be this one and this one, because they have the red hexagon, which indicates that they move in this phase. So this little locust is going to go. Whatever this is going to go. And then we'll go after that.
Let them come. I'll be waiting.
Damn, he took some damage. Here comes the other one. It's a spider. Missed. Now then, he has been shot at and he's lost some of his evasion points, so I think we're actually going to use him on this turn. We know that whatever this thing is hasn't gone yet, so I'd quite like to at least maybe kill it before it can move. Let's see. If we move here, we're looking for, I mean, ideally you get 3 gold chevrons so all your weapons are in perfect range, but we can't quite do that with the mystery mech. We can get 2 in, as a famous man once sang, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So let's go there. Let's see what this thing actually is. It's a cicada, which is a medium mech. It's the very lightest of the medium mechs. It's got 2 medium lasers and a small laser. This spider has 2 medium lasers, and as we know, the Locust has 1 medium laser and 2 SRM2s. Nothing is really a threat to us. So I think he's just going to fire everything at this. See, it hasn't moved, so it has no evasion. If we were to reserve, this would have moved and had evasion. Luckily, the spider only moved a tiny amount, and so did this. Light mechs can move very far and have lots of evasion, like up to 6 evasion pips, which makes them really annoying to hit. So let's have a go at this cicada from where we are right now.
Confirmed.
Boom! Destroyed a leg. I was hoping that was going to happen. That is very amusing.
That was a critical hit, lad.
Because when you destroy a leg, instant full stability damage and a knockdown. So, this pilot has taken 2 wounds. He took a wound because we destroyed the shoulder, and he took a wound because he fell over. And you see, this red bar denotes that one of its legs has been permanently destroyed, which means his stability will never go down further than that, so it's even easier to knock over again.
I'm listening.
So, Lady Arano, what can you do? How many weapons can she bring to bear? Well, she can move here. How about us? What can we do? We haven't really fired much. Can we get 2 weapons to hit that cicada that's lying on its back? Yes, but we're not in cover. And we're in cover there.
Tell me what you need.
I think I have to remember to turn the weapons back on. Now if she moves here, she does have direct line of sight, but we're only getting one chevron. One weapon chevron, which probably means the only weapon in range is our LRM-5, which does 20 damage, and that's a bit of a waste. So I think I'd rather have the Lady Arano get into cover with 2 chevrons and then shoot at the Locust.
Location confirmed.
Because it has 3 weapon chevrons on it. Might not have a good chance to hit, but it's a chance. Your medium lasers are happy enough. One of the SRM-60s is happy. 2 of them are slightly out of range. LRMs are quite happy.
Administering justice.
Let's see what we can do to this guy. Blow up all his armour. Didn't destroy anything on it. Caused quite a lot of stability damage. That is very close. Oh man, 8 points left in his torso. So, what are we gonna do? We can move there and get 1 evasion pit, be in cover, and get 1 weapon on this cicada, which I would quite like to do, so I think we're gonna do that. One other thing I should have told you, and I'm going to tell you right now, is that if you knock something over, it gets knocked down a phase in the next turn. So this cicada was moving in phase 3, next turn it's going to be moving in phase 2. So again, that's why causing stability damage is good, because it knocks things over. And when you fire at things that are knocked over, you get this, which is called shot. Because it's lying vulnerable, you get to pick which location you want to shoot at, which is really quite good fun. Getting 50% chance to hit the torso, 2% chance to hit the head. This is the base chance. We're only going to be hitting it with our AC2s. I don't think we need to prioritise that, because it's moving in phase 2 and all of our stuff moves in phase 4 or phase 3. We don't have to worry about that. We can pick that off next turn. This guy moves in phase 4 next turn. We know he's heavily damaged. His stability damage is pretty bad. He's got no evasion pips left. All of our weapons are in happy range. So let's just, hopefully, finish it off.
Nice job,
Yep.
kid. 1 fewer hostile on the board.
He did.
Enemy mech destroyed.
And the cicada got back up. And its maximum movement speed has also been reduced by losing a leg. That's why it's hobbling around. And again, the camera has decided to lodge itself behind the building. Yeah, I'm sure that was very cinematic.
Incoming transmission.
Attention, citizens of Coromadir 6. This is Lord Santiago Espinosa. With the unanimous support of the founding houses, I have assumed control of the Oregon Coalition. For your own protection, I urge you to remain calm and stay indoors until otherwise instructed. All hostile units, stand down, and you have my oath that you will not be harmed. Resist, and you will be fired upon.
My father placed his faith in that man. I gave him my trust. He was family.
Yeah, whatever.
Orders?
Let's get back to the killing. So this has now recovered its initiative damage, so this will go on turn 3. But we're moving first in turn 4, so it'll be us, and then this mech, and then us again, and then this mech. So we have pretty decent tactical choices to make here. What I would like to do is get rid of this spider because it's annoying me. Okay, if we move here, again he's going to be in cover. He gets a 1 evasion pip, which isn't great, but again his bulwark special ability gives him 40% cover. And happily, all 3 weapon chevrons are yellow. This is going to make a mess of this spider. And that building. The destructible environment is always good fun. Let's just shoot at it. Well, it said it had 3 gold chevrons. And it does. Because it's obstructed because of this obstructed line of sight. And it's a small target. So this is as good as these LRM-10s are going to get from here.
Affirmative.
Boom! Come on, finish it off. Yay!
Battle mech down.
Okay, skip to the enemy turn. Because it was the enemy's turn to go and we destroyed the mech that it would have used in turn 4. So it's using its limping cicada in turn 3. And it shot at us, caused a little bit more damage to our shoulder, but we'll be
You have my
fine.
attention.
Where can we move that's got 2 yellow chevrons? And in cover and evasion pip. But we can move backwards, be in cover. Because if we fire from where we're at right now to move it to attack, see our AC2s are unhappy because we're a little bit too close. So what we're going to do is just walk backwards a little bit. And now our AC2s are much happier. We're hitting it from the right hand side, which is a little bit annoying. I'd quite like to hit it on the other side, but the enemy was clever. It's keeping its damaged side turned away from us. We're going to cause a whole lot of damage to its undamaged side.
All weapons committed.
Yay! We destroyed its other shoulder, and that caused the 3rd wound to the pilot, which is why it fell over. The pilot is dead. So if this was a regular mission, we'd get all 3 parts of that cicada to salvage from the battlefield, and we would have a new cicada to keep for ourselves. Now you say, never mind the armory, all is lost, get off planet. She's like, no, I live here. And it's time to run away.
You get to that ship, Alexander. I mean it. We will not lose you and my throne on the same day.
This is the giant dropship we have to get to. And... spoilers, we're being told there's 2 vehicles. Here they are, unknown because they're not within sensor range. Oh, this one has moved into sensor range of one of our guys, and we know it's 25 tons. So again, we're going to be reserving, let them move first.
Affirmative.
25 ton and 35 ton. Once you get better at the game, you'll actually be able to make an educated guess as to what these are and what they're armed with. Believe it or not.
Standing by.
Now, this guy and this guy have gone. She has not. Can she sprint somewhere that's in cover? Yes, and we'll face the front.
Taking her to top speed.
And bleed off all this heat. Good. And it's us again. So I think we're going to reserve, let them come to us. Jolly good. And we'll reserve again. Even though this 35 ton is probably going to get into within firing range. No? Yes. Yeah, it's going to shoot the one thing we've moved. And as we see, didn't hit. It missed because of our large evasion.
Got my attention.
Right, now it's our turn. Now he can move there, apparently, and get 2 gold chevrons, decent chances to hit. And again, he'll be in cover for 40% damage reduction, so let's do that. We're going to have to keep an eye on this guy's heat. As we see, it's creeping up and up. Maybe we'll do a turn of just sprinting and bleed lots of it away. Oh, 70% chance to hit. 55 with the medium lasers because they're quite long range. This thing's hardly got any armour and even less structure. As I said, vehicles have hardly got any internal structure. Once you get past the armour, they just explode. This will probably die. Yep. Oh.
You were brave, I'll give you that much.
Reading you loud and clear.
Aha, now Lady Kamea can indeed move, get 2 evasion, be in cover, and get 2 gold chevrons on this thing. Great. The only thing that's going to be unhappy is the LRM5s, but they basically don't do anything anyway. Right, open fire.
For the Oregon Reach.
Yay! I thought for a minute that wasn't going to
Flag a
die.
hostile vehicle. Yes, I hear you.
Now let's just sprint and sprint, and she's not going to move too far ahead. We don't want to trigger another wave of enemies when the other 2 are quite far behind. I think 3 evasion pips is probably good enough. If nothing else, we're going to bleed off lots of heat. Okay, our turn again. Again, we're going to try and keep everyone
Fall in behind
sprinting
me.
and keep them in cover, if at all possible. Uh-oh. Turrets. Turrets, turrets. We didn't trigger them, but we saw them. Hey, there is something here which is going to be another turret. Turrets are quite annoying. Right. Evasion 3 in cover. Let's go. It's good. At least everyone's heat is just completely bled away during these 3 turns of manoeuvring. That was a very loud building destruction.
As you command, my lady.
Okay, now what we have is 2 turrets. Turrets are just like stationary vehicles. They've got decent armour but hardly any internal structure. Turrets actually hold usually more weapons than vehicles though, so they're a little bit more of a threat. And we have an enemy Wolverine, and this guy actually has a decent amount of armour. It's got a medium laser, short range missile 6 and an AC5, and I think his AC5 is on this arm because we can see it on the model. Yes it is. So we'd like to shoot this guy from the right hand side if at all possible. Now this guy moves in phase 3.
Orders.
But our guy moves in phase 4. He has no chance of getting round to the right hand side of this guy. No evasion pip, but he's in cover. So what's better? Having 2 evasion, which makes him harder to hit, or being in cover, which makes him easier to hit, but he takes 40% less damage from these hits. I think we're going to move here and then shoot at the Wolverine.
Confirmed.
And we'll identify what this turret is as well. Turrets tend to go very late in the turn order. As we see, they're turn 1, so everything else will get a chance to kill them before they shoot. And a light laser turret, 2 medium lasers, 2 machine guns. Machine guns are super short range. So I'd rather shoot at this guy. Again, we're shooting him from the front, so the damage is going to get spread around. This is just softening it up for everyone else.
Roger that.
And hitting it before it gets a chance to move and build up evasion. Well, that was good.
Take that as a lesson.
I think we caused 2 wounds to it there. Unfortunately, you can't actually see the enemy pilot's wounds. So we destroyed his shoulder, which was a wound, and there was an ammo explosion from that SRM ammo, so I think that's potentially 2 wounds on this guy. So if we can somehow contrive to shoot him in the head, or his leg, or his other shoulder, we might be able to kill him. Now where are we? We're way too far away. That's an obstructed view of him. That's pretty good. I don't think there is a range at which you will get 3 happy weapon chevrons. Or weapons are... The ranges of the weapons don't dovetail together quite nicely. You're only ever going to get 2. That's an obstructed view. That's not. 2 evasion, in cover, full view of the enemy mech.
Confirmed.
That's as good as we're going to get. So, let's see what happens this time. No. He's unsteady. Means he's close to going down. Now, decisions. We can take out one of these turrets with relative ease. Again, they both got medium lasers and a machine gun. Or we can try and finish off the mech. I think finishing off the mech is a better choice. Because even if you destroy all the weapons on the mech, they're still mobile and they can still do a melee attack. And what they will do is run up to you and kick you. And because of the RNG nature of this game, they'll kick you in the head and kill the head. And that'll be the end of your pilot. I've seen it happen far too many times to myself. Right, now, we are unable to get into cover. No, we can get into cover. But it's only 1 evasion pip. And we'd only get 1 happy weapon on him. In fact, we're actually going to get into cover. We'll just have to make do with having 1 weapon system not very happy at hitting this guy. 85% with the AC2s, 65-70 with the lasers. You may be wondering why 2 of the lasers are at 70 and why 2 of them are at 65. It's because 2 of them are on our arms, and weapons mounted on the arm get a bonus to accuracy. So the ones that are at 65 are the ones that are in our torso, and the ones that are at 70 are in the arms. So that's something else you've learned. Right, let's just fire.
All weapons.
Come on,
committed.
finish it. Finish it. No, damn it.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Reporting minimal damage.
Yeah, that's fine. Tank these 2 turrets easily. And it's our turn. Critical damage does not mean it does extra damage. What it means is that it's actually destroyed a component. When we mouse over the central torso, we see that his jump jet has gone red because the critical damage has destroyed the jump jet. Some weapons, like machine guns and other very short-range support weapons, do increased critical damage. So even if you can't get past the armour, like say he had an even bigger gun, like an AC-10 or an AC-20 or something evil like that, and it had lots of armour, and we were having trouble getting through it, you could try and do a critical hit to destroy the weapon that's on the arm instead of blowing the arm off.
You've got my attention.
Again, you're learning more and more things about the game. So, let's see. This guy, his torso is pretty badly shot up. It's only got 6 hit points left.
Talk to me.
So, I'd quite like to hit it at the front, actually. Well, it doesn't really matter where we hit this guy from. We're going to... If we hit him from the right-hand side, the damage is going to go straight to the torso. So let's try and do that. Okay, this looks pretty good. If we zoom in, we'll see we're hitting him from the left-hand side, the left-hand quadrant, which means the damage isn't going to go there, because that's not there. It's not going to go there. The damage is going to go here. This guy's got multi-target, so I think we're going to try and shoot at all 3 things with this guy.
Copy that.
So we're going to mark them A, B, and C. Target A, which is the Wolverine, is just going to get LRM 10s. Target B is going to get both the lasers, and target C is going to get his heavy cannon. Now, if everything goes well, we're going to kill all 3 things.
Copy that.
Yes! There goes 1. Ah. Boo! Oh
I'm
well.
listening.
See, turrets have got quite a lot of armour. They're quite annoying. Right, that's in cover. It's got 1 evasion pip. It'll do. Oh, overheat alert. We're going to have to turn off at least 1 weapon. 1 is fine because the overheat alert has gone off, so she'll just annihilate this turret, we hope. Yeah, there we go. And now,
Target destroyed.
before my next trick, is us. Can we get close enough to get 2 gold chevrons? Not quite. No, we'll just move here. Turrets don't have a facing, so it doesn't matter where you shoot them from. Everything's pretty happy anyway. And this is with 1 chevron that wasn't gold.
All weapons committed.
Well, that's dead. Good. Alright.
Target destroyed.
Yes, I hear you.
Get to the evac zone. Alright, I can do
I'm
that.
on the move.
Typical. One of our mechs is like 1 pit away from getting into it this turn. That's fine. We'll spend another turn moving.
Fall in behind me.
She'll just brace.
Flushing heat.
Alright, we made it.
Thank you, Sir Raju. Thank you both. I won't forget what you've done for me today. I promise you that.
Okay, so she gets to run away onto her dropship and get off planet.
I'll do what you
Bye.
ask.
More reinforcements. And it's a lot of reinforcements. Uh-oh. This is a scripted event. This doesn't usually happen. So they've sabotaged all the mechs that were being refitted. Oh, how clever. How very clever. So he's telling us to eject. This is something you can do at any point in a battle. If you're losing and you think your pilot is going to be killed, you can eject, which loses the mech, but it at least preserves the pilot, because training your pilots takes a long time. You can always buy a mech with money, or hopefully you've got spare mechs in the garage at home. So we'll see what happens when we punch out. There we go! And the mech has died because the pilot is gone. So Kamea's on the dropship. We've punched out. He's all on his own. He's surrounded by a lot of very big mechs. I don't think it's going to go well.
Mission successful.
Hey, I think this is where we will end this episode. We've been going for quite a long time. I've taught you many things. And that is the end of the tutorials. In the next episode, we'll get into the game itself. I hope you come back for that, and until then, I hope you take very good care of yourself. I'll talk to you again soon.